Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal with NVIDIA Daily Analysis. So NVIDIA went up today, unlike my expectation. Sometimes market does not behave as we expect. So that makes this market challenging at times. So my job is to present you with different data and data analysis so we can make a better assessment. In today's video, we'll dig into NVIDIA last quarter trend, historical split data, forward PE, and also employment and unemployment data and its impact on NVIDIA stock price for Friday. Now, let's get started. You see NVIDIA stock chart for today on your screen. NVIDIA opened at 121.66. It made a high 128.28. It made a low 121.36 and it closed at 128.28. That is 4.57% up. I was not expecting this much increase today, but overall, Nvidia is still below 130. Early this week, I made a prediction that by the end of this week, Nvidia would be moving between 125 and 135. So still Nvidia within this range. Now let's take a look at forward PE for Nvidia, Palantir, SMCI, and AMD. So as of now, Nvidia forward P is at 47.51, Palantir 78.33, SMCI 27.13, and AMD is 47.23. So if you consider Nvidia forward P is comparatively higher than the last 6 months of average. That is 43.16. And based on my understanding, but still Nvidia has not entered in the danger zone. SMCI 27.13 forward P, as I mentioned yesterday that SMCI has more potential to go further up today. So SMCI also went up today, probably about 1 or 2%. Let's take a look. It's 1.17%. And I'm hoping that SMCI should go further up either this Friday or next week. And AMD forward P is also went up, is above 47. AMD and Nvidia forward P at this point is comparable. In my opinion, AMD is slightly expensive at this price. Now let's take a look historical stock split data for Nvidia. You see the historical stock split data on your screen. I also added week number 5 after the stock became effective, the last cycle. At this point, we are in the fourth week after split became effective. So today, 4.5% up Nvidia, that makes Nvidia 35.10% up from the announcement date. In the last cycle, Nvidia closed at 27.05 by the end of week 4 from the announcement date. But you can notice week number 5, the last split cycle, the huge increase you see in the week number 5, probably about 20% from week 4 to week 5. And if you think that this data is relevant, we can expect Nvidia to go up next week. But before we jump to conclusion, let's take a look another data point. In this graph, I'm showing you last quarter Nvidia stock price movement, first month, second month, and third month. By the end of the first month after the earnings in last quarter that ended on 21st March, from here to here, you see the increase from the earnings to the end of the first month. But after the start of the second month, you see the decline in the Nvidia stock price. And the second month ended sometime here, 20th April. So based on this chart or graph, you see that second month Nvidia showed the downward trend. And after second month, the upward trend started. So based on this data, it suggests that next week we should not expect a big jump on Nvidia stock price. So now I presented to you two data points. You can write in the comment section what do you expect for next week. Now let's take a look technical charts. You see 90-day hourly interval chart for Nvidia on your screen and also the MACD chart. So this morning, Nvidia was under pressure. You see MACD was down, and if you can take a look the daily chart as well. So this morning, Nvidia opened below the yesterday closing price, but after sometime before noon it started going up. So that's what it shows in MACD. So we got some momentum sometime just before noon. And at this point, Nvidia still carries positive momentum. But this momentum is losing its strength. It's not as steeper as we saw sometime in the afternoon. So at this point, it's very hard to predict what's going to happen on Friday based on MACD chart. I guess it will also depend on the unemployment rate and the employment data that's going to be published before Friday market opens. Now let's take a look at Fibonacci levels. You see Fibonacci levels on your screen. As we noticed yesterday, the next level of support was at 117 after 122. And I made a comment yesterday that it's not very likely that Nvidia can break 117 level this week. But on the contrary, Nvidia went up and it broke 122.71 resistance this morning. And the next resistance is 129.53. And it will be interesting to see if Nvidia can break 129.53 on Friday. Regarding my position, today I did not buy any Nvidia and SMCI. I was waiting for Nvidia to go further down before I buy it, but it did not happen. But I'm not upset because I already have Nvidia shares bought at 120 and 125, so I'm already in profit. And similar situation I have for SMCI. I'm already on profit on SMCI as well. But if you are a long term investor, it matters not, in my opinion, what price level you buy Nvidia. As we noticed last quarter and before last quarter, just before the earnings, we saw Nvidia price movement goes up. So even if somebody buys Nvidia around 125 or 126, yes, there is a chance that Nvidia can go down, but eventually, in my opinion, Nvidia should go up before the earnings. Now let's take a look at news regarding Nvidia. As I mentioned yesterday, that Fed gonna publish the FOMC meeting minutes, and they already published it. I will make a separate video on that FOMC meeting minutes and its impact on Nvidia stock price for Friday. At this point, one of the reason I think that Nvidia and other AI chips stocks went up today is the optimism on the rate cut, and market thought that FOMC meeting minutes will support the rate cut decision gonna happen sometime next quarter. As you notice here, that says S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100 climbed to record highs as data fosters rate cut optimism ahead of Fed minutes. I guess that's what caused the market go up today. And besides Nvidia and the AI stocks, the major indices was up today as well. For example, S&P and Nasdaq. Let's take a look. So Nasdaq was up today 0.88% and S&P also up today 0.51%. Another one that is good for Nvidia and other AI stock is this one that says Taiwan Semiconductors expansion in AI and 2 nanometer technology set to boost future growth. So that's a good thing. And this is also possible that during the earnings call, Taiwan Semiconductor will give good revenue guidance. Yeah, this one is interesting. Nancy Pelosi loads up on more Nvidia shares, sells Tesla. If you are following Nancy Pelosi, probably you might want to buy more Nvidia shares. Yeah, and this news also suggests the same. That says Nvidia shares are trading higher and strength in chip stocks. The stock may also be rising after Nancy Pelosi purchased shares of the stock. So Nancy Pelosi factor today also caused Nvidia shares to go up. I guess that's all about news regarding Nvidia. Like I said, I will dig into FOMC meeting minutes, and that might suggest also what's gonna happen on Friday. Now let's take a look other AI stocks. So Nvidia is the winner today. The highest positive change is in Nvidia, that is 4.57%. And then Avago 4.33%. And then SMCI, Apple, Microsoft, and Palantir. AMD, SoundHound, and Amazon are negative today. Now let's take a look unemployment and the employment historical data. So the very first one is the US non-farm payrolls gonna be published on Friday. The last month the numbers came higher than expected, and that was not a good sign. And before that, the non-farm payroll came lower than expected. So mixed signal in last two cycle. So in this cycle, the forecast is 272K. In my opinion, the actuals may not come higher than the forecast. Now let's take a look unemployment rate. So the unemployment rate in the last two cycle came higher than expected, and that was a good sign for the bullish economy. And this cycle, we're expecting 4%. The forecast, in my opinion, the actuals may not come higher than the forecast. And this cycle, the forecast is 4%. Looking at the last 3 months of the historical data, is showing upward trend 3.8%, 3.9%, and 4%. So there is a possibility that the actuals comes either 4% or 4.1% in this cycle. And that won't be a bad sign for the bullish economy. So that's all about NVIDIA analysis and assessment for this week and early next week. I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you more tomorrow. Take care.